Hello and welcome back to another edition of Nutrition Bites. Two dietetic interns have joined me today, Deb Parashow and Erin Laverty, to discuss about vegetarians and their diets. And it seems a lot today that this has become a trendy diet. People are trying vegetarians, and restaurants have acknowledged this, and menus are popping up everywhere, and even specific vegan restaurants as well. So let's start off. Could you start by telling me a little bit about vegan diets?
Sure. Yeah, Steve, you're right about that. You know, a recent poll actually shows that 3.2% of adult Americans, or over 7.3 million people, are adopting a vegetarian diet, and another 0.5% are vegan. So it definitely is becoming more popular, and the restaurants are showing that as well in their menus. Part of the reason for the popularity in vegetarian diets is the accessibility of fresh produce year-round. Also, like we said, you know, the dining options have increased to give people an alternative when they dine out. You know, a vegetarian is someone who chooses to not eat meat. A lacto-vegetarian might choose to not eat meat but can still drink milk or eat dairy. A lacto-ovo-vegetarian is someone who avoids meat but might include dairy and eggs in their diet. And a pescatarian is a vegetarian who doesn't eat meat but might eat fish. A vegan is someone who, you know, avoids all meat entirely.
And, you know, like you just said, there's no meat, but there's plenty of substitutions out there for this protein. But moving forward, what are the health benefits of this diet?
Definitely there are health benefits. This used to be a conversation about, you know, nutritional inadequacies. We were a meat and potatoes kind of culture, and that has changed today, thankfully, and for some. But the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics now agrees that plant-based diets are not only nutritionally adequate, but can also help to prevent and even treat certain diseases. The reason for that is that vegetarians tend to consume lower cholesterol and lower LDL, saturated fat, which is largely in meat products. They also consume more vitamin C and E, more fiber, folic acid, potassium, and other essential minerals. So as a result, we see vegetarians with lower BMIs, lower blood pressure, lower cholesterol, and lower incidence of chronic disease like cancer, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease.
That is all very interesting, and it sounds like there are an abundance of motives behind choosing to become a vegan. But are in these motives, is it included like a weight loss? Do people go on this diet to lose weight?
Those are really good questions, Steve. And I think a lot of people may go into the mindset of adopting a vegetarian diet to lose weight. And the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics does say that you can incorporate a vegetarian diet into a weight loss program for long-term weight loss, and that can be effective. However, it's all going to be about what a vegetarian diet means to you. You know, if you just cut out meats and instead add in all kinds of just vegetable pizza all the time or spaghetti and more carbohydrates, more fats, then you could actually find yourself gaining weight. What you're always going to want and keep in mind is the My Plate model, which is half of your plate being fresh fruits and vegetables, a quarter of your plate being grains, and then a quarter of your plate still consisting of protein. You're just going to have to look for that protein from plant-based sources.
Sure. And in that protein section, obviously there is no meat with this vegan diet, but are you missing out on huge nutrients and minerals as well?
And that's another really great question, and something that people who are choosing to adopt a vegetarian or vegan lifestyle need to think about, that they are more at risk for not getting as much protein that they need, so they need to, you know, come up with other foods where they'll be getting their protein, but also some micronutrients such as iron, vitamin D, vitamin B12, and calcium. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to resort to just popping all kinds of supplements to making sure that you're getting those. You know, you can entirely get those nutrients from food first, but you might need to consider talking to a registered dietitian and brainstorming some food ideas and kind of come up with a meal plan where you're going to make sure you're getting all those nutrients you need.
Interesting. And just to wrap this all up, what are some of the alternatives or substitutions for this protein? And we know most of the people going to the gym nowadays to lift weights, protein is such an essential part of it, really, to build muscle. So can you still lift weights essentially if you're not taking in all this meat?
Yes, is the answer. You know, protein is an essential nutrient, but there are lots of different sources for protein other than meat. Vegetarians can, of course, we mentioned before the lacto-ovo, so they can drink milk, they can eat dairy, cheese. Also, Greek yogurt is a great source of protein. They can also have eggs if they choose to. For vegans, there are other options as well. There's almond and cashew milk, which are high protein sources, as well any sort of nut or nut butter, edamame, quinoa. It's a grain with a high protein content. Also, you know, chickpeas, any sort of beans or legumes. Also, for kind of meat substitutes, a lot of times they use tofu and tempeh and seitan, and these are high in protein as well. So there are lots of different options, and it's certainly possible to continue to lift weight and gain muscle being a vegetarian or vegan.
Well, you convinced me that this is an okay diet. I'm still going to eat meat, but vegetarians out there, they can go to the gym as well. Thank you very much, Deb and Erin, for joining me today. This has been another edition of Nutrition Bites.
This message brought to you by the LaSalle Nutrition Department.